I'm Lisa Landis. I'm the interim head of school right now for MSA. Yay, oh boy. It is my honor to be with you as the guide through our program today. Many of you know me from the annual auction, and I promise not to harass you into buying any class projects or free dress days today. Maria Montessori said, "We shall walk together on this path of life, for all things are part of the universe and are connected with each other to form one unity." I think that is an excellent encapsulation of exactly what Corinne did with MSA. It brings people together. I mean, look around. And has done so for the past 50 years. I look around and see people I've known for years. I will not say how many. And I know many of you can say the same. We're here today to honor and celebrate Corinne Salahi here at the school she founded 50 years ago, putting us all on this path together. I was fortunate enough to attend the kindergarten bridging ceremony on Thursday, where we asked our kindergartners to literally cross a bridge into their next adventure, taking with them all that they've learned, celebrating it, and putting it to work for them as they continue on. It struck me that that is exactly what we're here to do today. To take all that we have learned from Corinne, celebrate it, and put it to work for us as we continue on. So with that, I'd like to welcome Corinne's son, Tarek, to say a few words.
Well, thank you for having me, inviting the family to attend and be part of what we all have either been brought up in, raised, or hired into, but we all love the Montessori school and everyone loved my mother, and that means very much to me. I might be telling you some things about my mom you probably already know. Most of you knew her very well, and some of you may have known her as Coco. And Coco was always the beautiful soul, the kind spirit, the humanitarian, a lady of faith. She was a classic, timeless lady. She came from that time, born in Brussels, Belgium in 1945, the year of World War II coming to closure, lived in Liège, Belgium, before her family moved to the Belgian Congo of Africa. As you know, her family is part of the diplomatic corps of Belgium, and Corinne joined the Belgian embassy here in Washington, D.C. alongside with my grandmother, who was already in public service at the embassy. And then she continued on education in Oklahoma and then back here in Washington, D.C. As you know, nearly 50 years ago, she started and founded what was her passion, what she dedicated her life to, education, starting one of the first Montessori schools here in the region. There wasn't a day that she didn't quote or mention Maria Montessori every day at home, whether it was breakfast, lunch, or dinner when we were at home together. Even at the time when we were planting vines together to grow Vitis vinifera and hybrid vines out on the countryside, she would even use that as a moment of education of her Montessori ways out in the vineyards, working by hand. My mom was always that educator, that giver. She dedicated her life and her spirit to always help others. Between education and her passions also for her charities that many of you know about, including the Montessori school, she always gave back and taught others to do the same, including her family, even among my, if you will, my student mates here at Montessori school. Yes, I was a student here at one point as well. Not sure if I was the best student, with my mom being here in charge, but I think I saw Bob Williams here for a second, and he reminded me of a couple of things that I forgot about, and I'd sometimes walk out of the school and go down to a little cheeseburger joint in Old Town, and I'd grab a cheeseburger for my mom and for my students and even for my teachers and bring them back to the class. So that's still part of natural education, isn't it? And real world life experiences in the Montessori way, isn't it? Learning the hard way. So in that natural education, real life experiences, my mom always reminded me that was, the Montessori way. She helped raise the family and all the loved ones, and we would travel abroad and visit both European countries, Jerusalem and Belgium, where my parents were from. And I remember traveling in these countries, such as this, and it opened up my eyes to a larger world, and it educated me in so many ways, including how to respect all people of all backgrounds and heritages. Again, very Montessori school. When I see, some of these monuments here in different languages, it really screams volumes to what Montessori is about and embracing all heritages and cultures. I have fond memories being here. This was, many of you know, this was once also our home. Growing up here, I built a tree house back there with my mom and our family and other neighbors here on the property, back there in the woods at one point. I just remember all these incredible times here when I then transferred from Old Town to this location. That her vision was always the same, always discussing her plans to grow and blossom the MSA programs and come together for everyone here. She was proud of her students and very proud of the teachers here. She talked about all of you every day. It was and still is her life's work and her passion, her whole world. In closing, Lisa and I talked about this, my wife. Didn't want to get emotional, but when my mom died, minutes later, appeared at our home in Florida, which has never happened. Never happened. Was a red cardinal at the window door of our home. If you don't know what that means, Google it later on. But there's no question that her spirit was coming back to visit. We're convinced this was my mom's spirit coming to see our home and letting us know that she was flying free in peace. Perhaps amongst us now today, well, the cicadas have really taken over all the noise in the woods, haven't they? I want to thank everyone for your love and support of my mother and being part of her Montessori dream. It was always teamwork that she talked about here at Montessori. And she loved all of you in more ways than you know. Thank you for your beautiful memories too that you shared, both on a memorial page and Facebook page. If you haven't, you can keep them coming. There's so many beautiful pictures there that I didn't even know existed. It'd be nice to see them there. But I thank you very much on behalf of the family for honoring my mother this way today at her Montessori school that she found and loved. She remains here amongst all of you and the countless number of students that she educated, including me. We hope and pray her spirit will continue to guide the strong dedication of the Montessori programs that she loved and she know that you loved. God bless all of you, and thank you very much for having family attend, and thank you very much for honoring my mother this way.
Thank you, Tarek. That was lovely. I think we don't, a lot of us don't know that side of Corinne, so it was really nice for you to share that with us. Thank you so much. I did not know that this was your home, and I feel like I've been around here forever, so that's lovely. Tarek mentioned teamwork. Boy, oh boy, this next group of people. You want to talk about a team, a power team. So I would like to welcome this year's PTO Executive Board up to say a few words on behalf of the PTO this year. So, Liza,
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priya Minicherry, and I stand alongside Nina Lero, Liza, and Jason Reidenbach, and we are the PTO Board of 21, 22. We've all been a part of this MSA family for quite a few years, and we feel incredibly grateful and fortunate to actually be standing here today together. This has no doubt been a trying year for our entire community, but we did it and we made it. And we could not have done it without the vision and strength of Mrs. Salahi, our amazing board of directors, and all of our teachers and staff. A person's life can be measured by the relationships they create and the lives that they impact. And it's so wonderful to look out and see so many of our alumni family who are all here to celebrate Corinne, because she did not just impact the lives we care about the most, our children, she also impacted the lives of the parents as well. She made us parents a key partner in the MSA community, one that was built on the shoulders of all of you today. It was built by Mrs. Salahi and her vision of cultivating and creating not only a community, but a diverse one at that. One where children always came first, being kind to one another, learning patience and grace, taking care of each other, working collaboratively and independently. These are just some of the many threads that helped weave our children into who they are today. But those golden rules of life did not just apply to our kids. They applied to all of the families who have walked through those doors. Like many of us here, my husband Dave and I sort of stumbled onto MSA through sheer luck. If I'm being completely honest, we knew almost nothing about the Montessori method. We chose a school, one, because it was close to where we were living at the time, and two, the tuition was affordable. Now, they are all practical reasons for sure, but what we've gotten out of this school has been so much more. Our kids have made lifelong friendships, and so have we. There is one person that is responsible for that, and on behalf of all of the parents at MSA, we are forever grateful for the vision and dedication of Mrs. Salahi. We hope she knew how many relationships she helped create and how many lives she truly impacted and changed.
Every family needs a matriarch, the rock that holds things together, that is both compassionate and structured. Over the past 50 years, Corinne built a family here at MSA that continues to withstand the test of time. She is and always will be our matriarch. She is our strong oak tree, a foundational symbol of power, strength, and consistency. In 1970, she planted the roots of MSA that have continued to grow into the multitudes of branches of children living out the tenets of a Montessori education. In honor of this strong oak tree, we would like to now read a short poem called When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou that speaks to the great legacy that Corinne Salahi leaves behind that we, as parents, are forever grateful for. When great trees fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down. In tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened. Examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid. Promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality bound to them takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us silently. They existed. They existed. And we can be, and be better, for they existed.
you all. We are so grateful for our PTO, not only for speaking today, but for what they have done today in getting us all set up and put together. I can't even begin to tell you how much work they've done also this year as well. It has really been remarkable. Our staff is one of the things that makes MSA such a special place. Corinne took special pride in their work. Tarek mentioned it before. Please join me in welcoming Monica Diaz, our elementary teacher, and Kulsum Omar, one of our early childhood teachers, to say a few words on behalf of our staff.
Grab some tissue real quick. My name is Monica Diaz. I am the elementary teacher and program director here at MSA. I'm beginning my 23rd year here with the school.
Good afternoon. My name is Kulsum Omar, and I am an early childhood teacher and the educational director at MSA, and I have been with the school for 14 years. We are here today to honor our beloved MSA founder and leader, Corinne Salahi. Today, we represent and speak on behalf of her entire staff, and we want to share our collective sentiments about Corinne.
We begin with a Montessori quote, as Corinne was an authentic Montessorian at heart, and in her own life, she truly embraced Montessori as a way of life. Maria Montessori said, "Of all things, love is the most potent." And it was this love for the children, the community, and her staff that kept her in her life's work for 50 years. MSA is a truly special place. Look around for a few seconds. The school, the playgrounds, her staff, current and past families, this is all her doing.
It is this love that makes us all feel like part of a big family. As an early Montessori visionary, she spread her love into the wider Montessori world as well. As we collectively mourn her loss and celebrate her life, the words we use to describe her are nurturing. Corinne was not just our boss. We were all like family to her, as she was to us. She cared about and empathized with each and every staff member. She offered us support, not only during our professional challenges, but personal ones as well. She was quiet and soft-spoken. You would often see Corinne stealthily stand outside a classroom door or the playground and observe the children with a smile on her face. She loved watching them, and it brought her so much joy. She was classy, and she was dignified. She was always elegant in her coordinated scarves and jewelry, and had a quiet leadership style, which may have become rare in our noisy and competitive society and could easily have been taken advantage of. She was witty with a sense of humor. Sometimes she would break out in a giggle in the middle of our teacher meetings with a funny story or laugh at our funny stories. She always enjoyed a good joke.
She was a great storyteller. She had many interesting stories to share about her life on different continents and about the beginnings of MSA. She once shared that during MSA's early days, she would often pick up and drop off the children in her own car to make sure they would get to school. We would tell her all the time, "You have to write a book." She was a lifelong learner. She was passionate about Montessori education and always interested in professional development. She attended the annual AMS conferences every year with us, which can be pretty exhausting. We would often go to San Francisco and Denver and, flights and hotel living and all that. But she was right there with us. She still wanted to learn. At the conference, she was like a mother hen to us, keeping a close eye on us. She was excited to bring back new ideas and materials to MSA. Always at the conference, she would treat us to an elaborate and fantastic dinner on her dime. She made sure to treat us. She always saw the goodness in everyone. While we miss her immensely, we feel her essence everywhere.
We know she would be proud of us, and we will work tirelessly to ensure that MSA continues to be that really special place.
She was not just our boss and leader, but she was a mentor. She approached me back in 2004 about pursuing my elementary Montessori training. She saw something in me I didn't even know I had. And here I am 17 years later, loving what I do, and I owe it all to her. She was also like a mother figure to us all. Regardless of what Corinne had going on, she always made time to listen, offer advice, and encourage me when it came to matters both related and unrelated to school. And she made the best hummus in the world.
We always ask for it.
Yes.
What you might not know is that Corinne and I lived in the same community. So it was not unusual for her to beckon me as soon as an idea popped in her head for MSA and wanted me to come on over so she could share it. Sometimes it was at her place, sometimes we met downstairs at the cafe, and those visits ended with a not so short Montessori discourse, including tips on what to see on my trip to Belgium when I go, or even on how to best store wine for a long time. On occasion, I have been fortunate to have accompanied her to MSA family dinner nights because we would drive together, or she would invite me to her favorite French restaurant and say, "Do you want to go have brunch with me?" Or we've been to the Kennedy Center to enjoy the symphony or plays. She loved life. She had many interests. And although she had long days of work, she took classes at night, and sometimes I would say to her, "Corinne, are you okay? Are you good?" She said, "Yes, I'm fine. I have to do these things also." So we shared a lot of things together. So I have not just lost my boss, but I have lost a friend. I miss her every day. Maria Montessori wrote about the cosmic task. In the context of a Montessori environment, the cosmic task refers to the decree that each living thing comes into the world to carry out. It is built on the idea that everything has its own unique function in the cosmic plan. It is that which anything in the universe does to contribute to the greater good. Corinne has certainly fulfilled her cosmic task. May she rest in peace.
Thank you both. I love the idea of a cosmic task. Love that. There are actually several members of our current and former staff here. I'm going to put you on the spot. Just give me a wave. Alumni teachers, current teachers. Yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you. Corinne was passionate about International Peace Day. She used to share peace buttons with the staff and the children. She worked with the staff to coordinate the singing of Light a Candle for Peace around our Peace Bowl every year. It's a song that is sung by Montessori schools all around the world at the same time in all different time zones. And we would like to share it and another song entitled Peace Like a River with you now on our video stream.
This is the elementary class singing Peace Like a River. This is a song that Salahi loves much. Peace like a river, I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy like a mountain, I got joy like a mountain. I got joy like a mountain in my soul. I got joy like a mountain, I got joy like a mountain. I got joy like a mountain in my soul. I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river in my soul.
Just in case the face masks didn't give that away, those were this year's early childhood classes and then our elementary class singing as well. So, our next speaker is one of the pillars of MSA. Bob Williams did his Montessori training with Corinne, believe it or not, and has been with us since our early days. In addition to being a long tenured teacher at MSA, he's also a board member for a time, and we are so grateful. Please welcome Bob Williams.
Well, my story begins about 50 years ago in the academic year of 1971 to 1972. And this was the first year of the Montessori School of Alexandria. It was also the year that Corinne, Salahi, and I trained together to be Montessori teachers. We were trained in DC at WMI, that's the Washington Montessori Institute, by Margaret Stevenson, who had been trained by Maria Montessori herself. Miss Stevenson, as we called her, was wise, strict, and gradually, it dawned on some of us, hilarious in the most dry British manner. British. The method was this. She spoke and waited while our class of 30 or so jotted down her exact words. When the last pen had stopped moving, she would resume her monologue. Corinne and I later recalled that day when Miss Stevenson wished to convey the challenges we would all face in practicing precise Montessori skills needed in a land that was moving in the opposite direction. I can still recall Miss Stevenson's words after 50 years. I won't try to do the British accent. It would be disrespectful and tasteless. You have to imagine it, but it's part of the story. It is extremely difficult to teach Montessori in a culture in which, got a long pause while everybody got that written down. Wait for the rest of it. In a culture in which, when one asks for tea, one is brought a cup of tepid water and a bag containing some strange species of dust. It was the following year that Corinne hired me to teach in her new school. I had no prior experience other than tutoring as a volunteer college student in the inner cities of DC and Chicago. In fact, that may have been what caught Corinne's attention on my resume. My first months in the classroom did not go smoothly. Though I had learned a lot, the experience was not coming into focus yet, and chaos prevailed. I had embraced the Montessori axiom, follow the child. I had yet to learn a more subtle one. Sometimes we have to take the lead. The next step Corinne and I remembered differently. She generously recounted that I had wisely requested to have help brought in from AMI, that's the Association of Montessori International, to get my classroom and myself back on track. But I seem to recall that it was her idea. Anyway, help arrived quickly in my classroom in the form of Miss Stevenson herself. After observing patiently for almost half an hour, she asked, "May I take over?" That morning, I gained the insight that had been eluding me so far. Sometimes we have to take the lead. I share this because it could have gone another way. Had Corinne been a different kind of leader, it would have gone another way. It was her willingness to work with me and see me through to the next level that transformed what would have been a very short employment into what became the career I could only have dreamed of. In fact, later I met my wife, Iris, through MSA. She went on to teach here, and my son, James, flourished here as a student. In short, my life was largely shaped by this school. Providing great Montessori education was not enough to produce an economically sustainable business, at least not at first. Many people would have given up, but not Corinne Salahi. She and Durgan discovered that there was something that people valued apparently more than Montessori education. Bingo! Literally. Before long, after the establishment of bingo nights, the bills could be paid on time, including my salary, which I appreciated. Things were humming along. There was one hiccup, though, when an official from the city of Alexandria demanded bribe money and threatened to shut down the bingo if he didn't get his cut. It turns out, though, that in this country it's actually against the law for government officials to demand bribe money, and the corrupt official was convicted. Yeah, let the justice prevail. Such an American story. I was there. Now, I was being somewhat cynical when I said that people may have valued bingo more than Montessori education. Corinne recognized that, in fact, people didn't understand Montessori education, and that it was our job to teach them about it. Regular workshops were scheduled in the homes of parents, and we, the teachers, and Corinne would speak and answer questions. It was hard at first. I got butterflies in my stomach. But with experience, that cleared up after about 10 years. And now I don't get butterflies. More importantly, support for the school grew. One of Corinne's greatest attributes was her generosity. Not only were there frequent gifts, such as wine and cider from the vineyard, but beyond all that, she fostered an atmosphere of cooperation. As I mentioned earlier, the teacher needed support. She provided it. But once we became competent, she stepped back and gave us the freedom to do our best. Looking back, I realized that this is what Maria Montessori had admonished us to do in the classroom with the children. Corinne recognized this as a philosophy worthy of managing her teaching staff, and in fact, a philosophy to live by. She was always concerned with our access to good health care. Even after retirement, she was generous regarding, she was generous regarding the tuition of our own children, and that's something that I never took for granted. Several years back, well after my retirement, I got a call from Corinne. It was a few days before the new school year was to begin, and a new teacher had reneged on her contract. This could have been disastrous. Of course, I agreed to step in for several weeks until a new teacher could be hired. A major disruption was avoided and the transition was a smooth one. All those years of her kindness proved to be a practical asset to the school. I might not have jumped in for anybody else. By the way, that was the time when we found Justina, for those of you who know her. She was the teacher that was hired after a few weeks. Much to my relief, she found a good teacher. I was retired. Not that I didn't love being in the classroom, but anyway. This amazing school is a magical place where our children have thrived and will continue to do so well into the future. That MSA exists is no accident. Like most things of great value, it came from a precious seed. That seed could only have come from one place, and that place was in the imagination of one of the brightest, most creative people that I've ever had the honor to know. That was the imagination of Corinne Salahi half a century ago. Let's never forget that. We love you, Corinne.
Thank you, Bob. What a gift to be able to hear about all of the history. Wow, thank you so much. Since we've heard from an alumni teacher, we'd like to hear from an alumni student. Carson Babcock is one of our MSA alums. He started in our early childhood program, stayed for our elementary program, was a volunteer, and then subsequently a summer camp counselor. Because we're living in COVID times, we have Carson on video to join us today.
Greetings, MSA family. My name is Carson Babcock. As a former student of MSA, I would like to offer a tribute to the amazing life of our beloved Corinne Salahi. Mrs. Salahi did a truly remarkable thing. How many people can say that they founded a school? Mrs. Salahi's deep commitment and great determination led her to found the Montessori School of Alexandria in 1970. She remained active in the daily life of the school for the next 51 years. That alone is astonishing. But of course, there is more. My family found MSA in the most Montessori way possible, by exploring our new neighborhood when I was a young toddler. We were driving around one warm evening, and my dad noticed a house. An intriguing, inviting house with a small sign in the driveway indicating that it was a Montessori school. We got out and took a look, and my mother phoned the school the next day. I don't remember my first visit to the school because I was only about 2 years old at the time. Miss Salahi invited us all to the MSA outside school hours that day. While talking to my parents, she watched me explore a classroom. She learned about children by observing them, not just by testing them. She let children explore an environment designed for children instead of plopping them onto a chair with crayons like she talked to the grown-ups. Her powers of observation were remarkably sensitive and completely devoted to each child. A few months after this, Mrs. Salahi helped our family for the first time. Because of a change in my parents' work, they needed some childcare for me. Mrs. Salahi decided to let me start preschool on my 3rd birthday, even though that was a random day in the school year. She was also committed to the needs of every child and every family. I was enrolled at MSA for the next 7 years. As a small child, I remember Mrs. Salahi as a quiet person, calm, gentle, and very kind. She commanded respect. No, that's not quite right. She inspired respect. Mrs. Salahi has helped so many people throughout her life. I've always seen her as a silent angel, always trying to bless people quietly. Everyone treated Mrs. Salahi with the most respect at the Montessori school. She was the eldest and had the most wisdom and experience at the school. When I was a teenager, Mrs. Salahi helped me to take my first steps as a worker. My first paid task was to assemble tiny picnic tables for 3 old students to use at the school. Mrs. Salahi knew how much these tables would mean to the small children. The tables were useful and very delightful. My second paid task was to pull weeds in an overgrown flower bed at the school. I learned that weeds grow if you procrastinate, a perfect Montessori lesson. MSA is more than just a set of classroom where education happens. In founding the school, Mrs. Salahi created a welcoming home where all students can develop as they learn. The school is a home for students and parents alike, a house with a welcoming exterior, with places to work and play, to sit and lie down, to eat and learn, and to read and draw, to think, to make friends. MSA is a beautiful piece of land, with places to explore, with big trees and little trees, with gates opening to nature. Those are my memories. Most of you have your memories of your own. Mrs. Salahi has educated and helped and nurtured countless children and their parents over the decades. If you are here today, and if you have felt her touch, Mrs. Salahi is no longer among us to speak in her soft, wise voice, but her wisdom and spirit live on here at the school. Take time to think about what her life continues to mean. If you can, take a look at the red rods, the pink tower, the tables, the chairs, and learning materials designed for a child's hands, body, and mind. If you can, take a moment to look down at the garden beds and up at the trees across at the ravine. Mrs. Salahi gave us all a place that had these things. She helped us to see them. She helped us to live among them. She grounded us. Thank you so much.
Ask our board of director speakers to come up and join us. So our last speaker for the day is Sherry Steffen. Sherry joined the board just in time to help steer the school through a global pandemic. So when you see her after this, please speak softly, kindly, and if anybody has smuggled in wine, please give her some. Sherry. My first experience with MSA was as a parent of 2 Montessori kids many moons ago. Several years later, I was welcomed back into the community by Corinne as a board member. I'm grateful for having that opportunity to work with Corinne and to get to know her so much better. We engaged in some rather dynamic discussions about the direction of the school, trying to find that balance between tradition and change, respecting our different perspectives while relying on our mutual commitment to MSA. I learned much from Corinne's grace and kindness and singular focus on this community. In considering this celebration for Corinne, one thing that shines bright to me was her vision and how she was trying to prepare us as individuals and collectively for the future. Montessorians have a term for this. It is called indirect preparation, in which every action has conscious interest, and through this interest, the mind is prepared for and more accepting of something in the future. Much of what we heard today is about how she helped us prepare for now our time together as a community, but without her, and moving forward into whatever that will be. On behalf of the Montessori School of Alexandria, I want to say thank you for being here with us today to share in Corinne's legacy and the joy in her life. In the words of Maria Montessori, quote, joy, feeling one's own value, being appreciated and loved by others, feeling useful and capable of productions are all factors of enormous value for the human soul. Corinne was so valued and appreciated and loved, useful and capable. So let us also share in her joy. Thank you so much for being here today. There we go. Corinne and MSA have had clearly a lasting impact on all of our students and all of us now. Some of whom are literally scattered all around the world. And in these interesting times, we weren't able to bring them all here. So we have some words from them.
MSA taught us to
care and be generous to others,
learn grammar and find my new friends, prepare us for life, read, do math,
learn in an interesting way.
Thank you, Mrs. Salahi.
We will always remember you.
We love you, MSA.
Hi MSA, this is Kaya. It's been 3 years now since I left MSA, and I'm in 6th grade. I remember when I came to my new school, I knew so much more about geography than anyone else. And I was like the only person that liked and understood grammar. Thank you, Mrs. Diaz. All I can remember from MSA are happy memories. And thank you, Ms. Salahi, and all my teachers for a great experience and a great learning environment. Thank you, MSA. I'll never forget you.
I love classroom, and I do so much work. My favorite work is red and blue rods, and I like my teacher. This has they help me a lot, and they give me paper.
Hi, my name is Amani Hicks, and I'm graduating today from the American International School of Johannesburg. And I just want to say thank you to Ms. Salahi and all of MSA. When I was there, I do look at those memories with such joy.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I just wanted to say I love MSA and thank you very much, Ms. Salahi.
Thank you, Ms. Salahi, for making our school amazing. Thank you, Ms. Salahi, for making our school amazing.
Thank you, Ms. Salahi, for creating a Montessori school and building a Montessori school. Thank you for also letting me go to Montessori, because Montessori has definitely been one of the best schools I've ever gone to, just because of the hands-on activities and the teachers. The teachers were amazing. Versus now, I don't have that many hands-on activities. But thank you for letting me go to Montessori, because the people there they help me grow stronger, and they help me have more confidence, they help me be kind, they help me go to the next level of school, or just apply for a job and know what to do there. So thank you for that, and we will all miss you.
Thank you, Ms. Salahi, for building this school, and thank you for loving all the children. I really miss you.
Thank you, Mrs. Salahi, for everything that you did for us. We will miss you.
Thank you, Mrs. Salahi, for everything that you did for us. We will always remember you. Hello, my name is Adriana, and you are a very sweet lady, Miss Salahi, and I very miss you. Very, very much, and I hope you have a very, very nice time in heaven.
Hi, my name is Maddie, and I went to MSA from 2004 to 2009, and I'm now a rising junior at the University of Mary Washington, and I'm so grateful for everything that I learned at MSA, and I had the best time going to school there as a kid.
MSA means a lot to me. If I hadn't gone there, I don't know where or even who I'd be today. It's there that I discovered my love of performance and my passionate curiosity. Thank you, Mrs. Salahi, for the wonderful years I wouldn't give back if I could.
Miss Salahi was a kind, caring, thoughtful, and generous person, and we love her much.
I can't thank Mrs. Salahi enough that she made this amazing school.
Thank you, Miss Salahi. We love you and miss you.
Thank you, Miss Salahi. We miss MSA.
Thanks to Mrs. Salahi, and thanks Montessori.
Thanks, MSA.
Thank you, Miss Salahi.
Mrs. Salahi.
Thank you, Miss Salahi.
Thank you, Miss Salahi.
Thank you to Ms. Salahi.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you
Salahi.
very much, Miss Salahi.
Thank you, Mrs. Salahi.
Thank you, Miss Salahi, for making our school amazing.
Well, I think if we learned anything today, it's about the paper.
Yeah.
On behalf of Corinne's family, our staff, board of directors, thank you to all of our speakers, To our PTO for helping set up today. Special thanks to Jason, our official roadie. Yes. And most especially thanks to all of you for joining us today. We're grateful for all of you, and we thank you for joining us for this one stop on our collective path. We've celebrated Corinne's legacy, and we're now challenged to take all that we've learned, put it to work for us as we cross the bridge into what's next. So thank you.